producer.
And actually, can we do that one more time?
One more time?
MarkFergus, exec producer.
Naren Shankar, executive producer. Hey guys, before we start, we just want to let you know Alcon Television, who produces The Expanse, is very proud to announce that we've partnered with Amazon Prime for our streaming. For episode 1, it's going to you'll be able to stream it in December. So please let people know. We'd love to have people find the show. We're premiering season 2 in January.
Are you streaming 4K?
I don't know. I just got the information. This is sort of hot off the presses.
You said episode 1. You mean
season 1. I meant, did I say episode 1?
You said episode 1.
All of the episodes. All of the
I saw
episodes
episode
from
1 last
season
year.
1. I know. That would be anticlimactic.
Yeah.
You get to see it
Again.
I thought maybe you were trying to tease him or something.
First season.
Why do you think this show has exploded and become so popular? Because everyone was talking about it when it was on.
Because it's awesome.
It is. What makes it awesome?
I think we all fell in love with it. We read the books. We fell in love with a world that we could rediscover science fiction in a world that hadn't jumped past all the interesting parts, which is the colonization of space. The technology isn't perfected. The aliens aren't hanging out. I mean, it's most sci-fi just get right to the juicy stuff, and the real story for us was how hard it was for humanity to claw its way off of Earth, colonize, sort itself out, redefine the rules technologically, racially, everything. That's the drama, and where it's an ocean of vastness, distances are vast, communication fails you because the speed of light is the speed of light, and speeding up is hard on the human body, breaking the change in physiology by reduced gravity, all that stuff we get to dramatize and bring into the show, and we felt like it was a version of sci-fi that we had never really seen before, and we wanted to. We've been dying to find this world, and when we read the books, we were like, these guys created this world that we've been just like, this show needed to happen, and no one had done it yet, so we're like, let's do it.
And you don't break rules, right? I mean, you don't have to do the warp drive and all that kind of stuff. You don't have to make up stuff that justifies the story, right?
We try not to. I mean, like we've said this so many times, is that we like to make space a character in the show. It's like, and the hardships of it, it's a hostile environment. Life doesn't exist in it, and life shouldn't probably exist in it. And we re-emphasize that quite often, and it's I think one of the unique features of the show.
And where we feel the real story is for people is the hardship. If technology is rock and roll, and then you need external, and then you got to bring in crazy stuff to keep it interesting. We're just telling a story about people struggling forward, and that's where the story is, and we get to do that because we're in that kind of growth period where humanity is breaking the tether of Earth and trying to expand out, and it's really hard, and we get to tell that story.
I'm sorry, just to finish that up, but when I was on Next Generation, a show that Star Trek Next Generation, a show that I love, you couldn't get away from the fact that the ship looked like a floating hotel. I mean, it was. I mean, it really was. That it was comfortable. There was carpeting. There was like everything was beautiful. It's like our physical environments are tin cans in space. They do not look comfortable. They are made out of steel, and they are harsh and uninviting because they need to be strong. And it's like that's part of the design of the show, and we're not changing that.
And they're windowless.
There's no windows.
Technology, the show paints a very optimistic future, but socially, it's got a real problem. Will that continue? Will you continue to be social with technology?
It's optimistic insofar as that people are still alive. It's pessimistic, I think, to the extent that, once again, even this far out in the solar system, we've replicated problems like factionalism, nationalism, tribalism. It's like we can't get past ourselves. And I mean, you should, the way you've always described the show in terms of, choosing compassion.
I mean, it was we pitched the show based on the Jimi Hendrix quote about when the love of power overcomes the the power of love overcomes the love of power, then humanity will know change. And you're like, it really is that simple, but that's the ongoing show. Why can't we do that right now? We can all do that right now in this world, and why don't we? Because it's more complicated than that. But to go back to technology, is we've seen the show where technology leads to utopia. We've seen the show where technology rises up and eats us, destroys everything. We've never seen the show where technology is in the background where it belongs. It didn't kill us. It didn't solve our problems. It is a tool, and what we want to see is how people use it or don't use it, and it's in the background because we want it to be a part of a real world as opposed to. It's not a show about whether technology saved us or destroyed us. It's not. That's not the show, and that's why Ty and Daniel, they dialed tech back into the background because that's where it belongs in this show. It's really not as interesting as the people that we're front and center on. So we just like that technology doesn't have to be either utopia or total annihilation. It can actually be like a car is to us now, and useful, but it doesn't. A great car doesn't make people love each other any more than we ever did. So,
And then what can you tell us about season 2?
The big change in season 2, I think, from season 1 is season 1 was a lot of mystery. It was a lot of shadow play. It was conspiracy about who's behind what are they hiding, who's involved. And we answered a lot of those questions at the end of season 1. And what that enables us to do in season 2 is really play the story in forward momentum. What season 2 is largely about is understanding this proto-molecule, understanding what it's doing, what it wants to, the directions it wants to move in, why people are after it. The story is played much more in forward momentum and forward discovery, and so it's much less shadow play. It's much less, oh no, it's not that man behind the curtain, it's the other man behind the curtain. It's like we're kind of done with that, and it's nice. We have a Martian perspective in Bobby Draper from the very beginning of the show that gives us sort of the third part of the focus between Earth, the Belt, and Mars, and I think that's, and obviously a deepening relationship between our characters and the audience with our characters.
Yeah, one of the authors have put it really succinctly. I believe it was Ty or Daniel. They're like, season 1 was, what's going on, what's happening, and this season is what's going to happen next. 'Cause we know we know the pieces now, we know the players, and we're like, how's this all going to play out? And it's a different. It's nice. I think we set up season 1 so that we could do this in season 2. It wasn't a suddenly let's change the tone of the show. It was setting up so we could now drill in on all the promises we made to the audience.
Are you concerned at all that new viewers coming in and just seeing season 2 aren't going to know what's going on unless they've read the book?
I hope that they wouldn't, because they'd be missing so much. But it'll work that way. I mean, people, it's accessible in that way. But I think if you want to really revel in what's happening, it would really.
So that's part of the Amazon. That's part of the Amazon Prime thing. They get them caught up.
Yeah.
Well, after last year's your first episode, after I saw it here, I went out and bought the first book in my iPad. Binge read it last summer. Got the second one this last spring and binge read it, and I'm now into the third one. So
Guys, we're wrapped. Thank you so much.